Get ready for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Green light.
This is Daniel Smith from Jets Guru. Welcome to the show. All gas, no brakes. Let's go, Jets. Woo!
Let's make sure we play like the New York Jets.
I was just so far from here, focused on my own way, but never looking back to those who lived in fear. There was nothing I could do.
What's going on, Jets Nation? CJ the Painkiller D. Simone here, and you are watching Jets Guru. Now, give it up for your host, Mr. Daniel Smith!
What is going on, Jets Guru faithful, Jet fans out there? Appreciate all the support that you guys give to us each and every week. You guys are amazing. From all of the comments we get on the game day threads, the articles, to the stars that you guys give us in support. It's just been absolutely amazing. You guys have been reaching out when I go to the games live, saying hi. Appreciate that too. I want to meet everyone. Do not be scared. If you see me, just say hi. You just call me. Call me straight out. Hey, Guru, what's up? I'll turn right around. We'll hang out. We'll talk Jets football. That's what I love to do. I love to tailgate. But listen, I got to tell you guys something, because Jet fans, you're really disappointing me here. We need some competition on the cornhole boards out in the lot. So I'm putting out an official request right here, right now on Jets Guru in the lot, October 30th against the Patriots, Sunday. I want you to come out and try to beat me in cornhole. I've already got my partner. I'm not letting you know who it is, but we're about to just clean up the lot again, because that's all we do. What I'm figuring is that there's just no competition out on the lot. So I'm challenging all comers, everyone out in the lot. If you think you could take the Guru, come over to lot D7, and come get some, because you're not going to beat me. I'm too nice, and this is my time now. What's up?
Kicking the producer to the side now. Damn.
Well, listen, when you're here with me, we'll ride out. But when you're gone, the legends have to assemble. And that's what's happening right now. I got my partner, and I'm challenging all Jets Guru fans and Jet fans out there to come out and challenge your boy. And because you're going to lose, I'm just telling you. Well, come out then, lol. You talking, you typing on the computer screen and stuff. Come out to lot D7, October 30th, and come get some then. All right? But until then, let's get back to Jets Guru football, okay? We got Kevin back. He's high flying across the country. He's back with us now. We're super excited. All right, listen. The Jets, dude, this smile is so authentic, because the Jets, we were just talking about this before we went live. I do not think there has been a season that we've done Jets Guru. That's right, because we haven't been doing it for 11 years, where the Jets have really had winning football. Yeah, maybe they were 2-1 or something at some point. I don't even know if they were that. But this is legit a team that has a winning record right now, and they will have a winning record at least at minimum for the next 2 weeks. So I'm happy about that. But here's even more important thing. Looking at this schedule earlier, okay, in the year, we were going and saying, well, what could the Jets be? And we did have the Jets, both of us, pretty favorable in the first half, especially early. But the way it's kind of swung out, we just didn't know it would swing this way because Miami is playing very good football. We wind up getting a win from them. I think that might be the only surprise to me. We're running into a Packers team that has struggled. The Jets are coming off back-to-back wins. It seems like they're finding an identity for their offense. It seems like Carl Lawson is shaking off the cobwebs. It seems like Quinn Williams is progressively each game at least making a mark. He's on pace for 11 sacks right now. This team, Sauce Gardner, another guy who Reed called elite only in a few games in, but I mean, this kid has some impressive stats. So looking at this team, they're just going to get better if they stay healthy. They're going to gel. Things are going to get better. Are they going to make the playoffs? I can't say that yet. That's something I can't say. We're not there. But I'll tell you what, if they come back, Kevin, and they beat the Packers in a winnable game, and we'll get into this later about the Packers, so we don't got to really get into it there. But the back-to-back wins, how impressive were the Jets to you in this Miami game? And what does it mean for this team to finally build some momentum?
First off, the Jets just won 3 out of the last 4 games. 3 out of the last 4. So I don't know when we've been able to say that. It's been a long, long time. And you're right, we weren't doing the show during the Ryan Fitzpatrick years, right? Where I think we had almost made the playoffs. We lost the last game of the season. So we haven't been doing the show for 11 years. We haven't been doing it since 2015 either. But I mean, that's what you want to see. And when you want to see some level of consistency and you want to see an identity. And I think we've been asking for that since Bowles, is what are the Jets going to hang their hat on? And I think you're starting to see that for the first time in a long, 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 long time. On offense, the Joe Douglas has, and some of this is luck and some of this is well planned, right? It was lucky we didn't get Tyreek Hill, right? Because instead we got Jermaine Johnson and Breece Hall instead of just Tyreek Hill, because we were going to trade both second-round picks for Tyreek Hill. And now the Jets have more explosive plays than Miami, and they have Waddle and Hill. And we have more explosive plays in the passing game because we have lots of weapons instead of one, right? Like Diggs for Buffalo just said, I was almost traded to the Jets in 2020. Tyreek Hill almost traded. We would have traded 2 or 3 young players, plus probably some other things. And instead, we got, the ABTs of the world. Instead, we got Garrett Wilson. Instead, we got Breece Hall. And every week, somebody different can beat you. And defenses can't just key in on a run game or just take away Wilson or just take away. We have lots of weapons, right? Conklin a couple weeks ago had 87 yards, right? Wilson had his 100-yard game. This was the Breece Hall week. And we have lots of guys that are going to be a matchup nightmare. Corey Davis has had his games, right, where he had that 75-yard touchdown to get us back in the game against Cleveland. He had that 1 million big catches in the Pittsburgh game, where all of a sudden people are like, wait, I thought if I took away Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson, we can beat you. Well, all of a sudden Corey Davis has a 100-yard game, right? Now Breece Hall is having 200-yard games. So the Jets have made life easy for a young quarterback, which also we've never seen, right? When Sam was here, it was like, well, we had Robbie and we had, Robbie. we had a couple pieces here and there, but we didn't have an elite running back or an elite O-line. Geno didn't have weapons. We could keep going on and on. Sanchez, Wentz, Holmes, and Edwards kind of went away, or got injured. We didn't have depth. We have a little bit of everything, right? Barrios. We could keep going. Jeff Smith catching big third down plays. We have a lot of different guys and a lot of different matchups where you don't have 4 corners or 4 safeties. And then on defense, you can rush 4 or 5 and everybody else drops back in coverage. Like that whole Miami game, people are like, oh my God, our run defense was bad. Well, we kept 2 safeties back and we tried to let the front 7 say, hey, I dare you to throw because everybody's in coverage and we're going to keep rushing 4. And the Jets are going to keep doing that. And that's the rotation. We're going to keep rotating guys. We're going to always have fresh guys. and we're going to have a net behind it. A bunch of guys. We have elite cover corners and safeties over the top. So the Jets have formed an identity on D. And this week, the other thing that has worked out for the Jets is we've had lucky breaks with injuries. And you could say, wait, we've been switching out O-line. Like, dude, we got Quincy Williams coming back this week. The week after that, we should have Fant coming back. We just had Brown coming back. We just got Wilson back. So we keep getting a little better, like health-wise, personnel-wise, and the Jets are building momentum. So it's very good that we've won 3 out of 4, but we keep adding a little, like, this is the perfect week to get back Quincy Williams when we're going against the Green Bay Packers two-headed monster. So when people say in the comments, hey, the Jets run defense wasn't that good. Well, you got to look. We were taking away the pass and daring them. Beat us with the run game. If you think Mostert is going to beat us, like, all right, like, he's going to need 250 because Tyreek and Waddle are not going to beat us. And the Jets set Miami up for that. This week, we'll put Whitehead back in the box because he wasn't in the box that week, and we get Quincy back to help stop the run. So the Jets can keep moving pieces around based on their opponent on offense and defense to set them up for success. This is the most talent the Jets have ever had, maybe since the Thomas Jones, Chad Pennington, Santana Moss, Lavernius Coles like that. It's been a long time since we had this much talent.
But even then, those are just Jet legends. I think if you look at the actual talent on the field, this could be the most talented Jets offense, at least from a physical perspective. We'll see how the year pans out and what type of numbers they could put up. But like you said, there's just guys everywhere offensively. It's hard to scheme. And what's good is that the Jets did have experience last year running through their depth because they had so many injuries. So this is a game that they've played before. They're just getting better at playing it because they're getting more experience as play callers and as players. It's something where I look at this team and I say, what are the possibilities of them? Like, what is the next step for them? Everyone's talking about, you look at Zach's numbers in those games. I say, I love what Zach did. He was efficient. He controlled the offense, and he took what the defense gave him. I don't want this kid going out there throwing the ball around, making mistakes. That's how you lose games. Keeping turnovers down. Not having any turnovers at all is the way to play a clean football game. The numbers are going to come. This team is still gelling. They're still figuring out who they are. And right now, they're running the football to protect their team. And that's what they should do. And Breece Hall dragged the Dolphins all over the damn field last week. And I see them keep doing it and feeding the hot hand. Michael Carter, to me, has had a very, very good season as well. He's cleaned up a lot of what Breece has done, and that's good because you know what? He can also get stopped at the goal line. No touchdown, field goal. But he comes out there, he pounds it in, he gets the touchdown. That's how a team works. The way this Jets team is set up, it reminds me almost like a college team. Just the way they rotate guys, the way that one guy shines one week, the next week it's somebody else that's shining. You had Corey Davis shine out one game. You have Breece Hall shine out one game. You have Wilson shine out one game. This is showing me that the Jets have depth in the offensive position and that also the quarterbacks on the roster aren't just keying in on one guy. They really are going through the playbook and really going through the depth of their reads. And I love that because that's good for Zach to not have to force the ball down the field to an Odell or to a Diggs or someone like that who's going to demand the ball. You look at Justin Jefferson and what he's doing in this league with the Vikings, and it's amazing. He's an amazing receiver. But you know what? The one team that they run into, and it's already happened this year, and it'll happen again, and hopefully for them it doesn't happen during the playoffs, who actually stop Jefferson, then what do you do? With the Jets, you really have to sit back and wait. And that brings us in and mostly into talking about the game coming up against the Packers. When you look at the game against the Packers, guys, this game, the Jets are meant to win this game. This is a perfect matchup for the Jets. And I know people are saying, but Aaron Rodgers, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Well, the way I'm talking about is this. The Packers play a soft cover defense, right? The way that you attack, to me, Zach Wilson, being young right now with the Jets beat up line, is to blitz him. That's the way to attack him right now. The way I'm seeing it, the way Zach Wilson is playing, He's allowing the defense to just take what's given, which means everything underneath is going to be available. The checkdowns to Michael Carter, the stuff to the tight ends, the quick slants, all these type of things are going to be available because they don't want to get beat deep down the field. The Jets have elite weapons compared to the Packers in this game, in my opinion. Like Kevin said, no one is scared of the Packers wide receivers. Sauce is building momentum, and each time he plays an elite receiver, he's picking up information like, okay, this is how he plays. And then when he goes up against a guy that's inferior, you don't think he's going to feel the difference, him being an elite talent himself? Of course he is. This is I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a game where I think the Jets can possibly control it. It's all going to come down to if the Jets make mistakes. And this is what happens to young teams all the time. They get a little steam, they start looking like a good team, and then they fall off the high a little bit. Turnovers, making costly throws, not being able to get to the quarterback, so they extend drives. Now, I know Kevin said the run defense, huge test for the Jets in this one, because you know what? They haven't been able to stop the run. And the thing about not being able to stop the run, like we saw what the Dolphins couldn't do to Breece Hall, is it extends drives and it makes the field position, it shrinks it. So instead of having 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, you now have 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s, more convertible plays. And with Aaron Rodgers, you do not want more convertible plays, and you do not want more convertible plays against Aaron Jones, and you do not want more convertible plays against A.J. Dillon. These are guys that can still and have this season played well. They just don't use them correctly. But what I will say is Aaron Rodgers, his attempts per early in that Giants game indicate to me that he doesn't trust the receivers that are on the field. He's made various comments in training camp about the receiver group and how they're not doing certain things. There's been chatter from the Packers. Actually, one of the corners of the Packers were talking about, well, if we lose against the Jets this week, then we have some problems we need to talk about. And Aaron Rodgers said, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not thinking about losing any of these games. So he's like false on that. So you've already got people wondering, are we as good as we think we are? And you got the New York Jets just nibbling, just waiting to come out there and prove themselves. A young, talented team. This is a different Jets team. They're young, they're talented, and now they're not babies anymore. Now they're closing out games. This soft cover defense, this is Zach Wilson's game to win. If he takes what the defense gives him and he limits his mistakes, the Jets are going to win this game. The Jets are going to be able to dictate how they play offense, in my opinion. They just have too many weapons. So it's going to come down to Zach Wilson taking what the defense gives him and not making any mistakes. And the defensive line has to slow down the run because, like Kevin said, these corners, they're going to lock it down. So they're going to try to soften up this game by extending the drives like Mostert did, protecting the quarterback, extending the drives until they can strike, play action, boot on the outside, throw on a broken route, these types of things. This is how Aaron Rodgers has made his living. I think if you could shut down this running game, the corners are already going to do their job, and this could be a very, very long day for Aaron Rodgers, Kevin.
Yeah, there's a couple things. I think with Quincy coming back, I agree with you. The wide receivers don't scare anyone. I think the Jets are going to lock up a lot of man-to-man. I think they're going to make Aaron Rodgers and these wide receivers try to get separations against the Michael Carters, Reeds, and Sauces of the world. You're going to see Whitehead in the box. You're going to see Quincy Williams back. They're going to say, good luck running the ball. They're honestly, their offense is the 21st passing offense with Aaron Rodgers. They're only getting 227 passing yards a game. The only benefit they got is they're only giving up 177 as a defense. Their run defense is a little weaker than their pass defense, but I think they're going to play to that, right? They're going to try to make Breece Hall. Right? If you're a defensive coordinator, you're going to say Breece Hall can't beat us. So Garrett Wilson, Moore, like Elijah Moore, somebody's got to have their breakout game, right? We got to flip the switch. And Wilson's going to have to be smart, conservative, don't turn the ball over, and let the defense control the game. They're going to have to. And you say Aaron Rodgers at home, is that what? Man, Aaron Rodgers who are their receivers? And he's got to throw to them against Reed and Sauce. So the Jets got to stop them run, make them one-dimensional, make their offense predictable, and not turn the ball over. So this is going to be a big week for an Elijah Moore, for a Conklin, for somebody to make plays against this secondary that's going to say this is the week that they got to take away Breece Hall. And that's not what their defense is good at. So they're likely going to overplay it and bet that Zach Wilson can't beat them. The other comment that you made earlier about a lot of fans are like, well, Zach Wilson this and Zach Wilson that. Man, he scored every single drive in the fourth quarter since he came back. The Jets are perfect 100% on scoring drives in the fourth quarter when he comes back. And how many drives, how many passes has Zach thrown where the guy gets tackled at the 1 yard line? It's like a million of them. Breece and Michael Carter have, like, in the last 2 weeks, like 4 or 5. I can't remember what the number is. 1 yard touchdown runs, right? And it's because that 79-yard passing play to Breece Hall where he gets tackled at the 1, right? Like, it's happened a million times. I mean, even Zach Wilson has a 2-yard touchdown run last week, again, because one of his guys were tackled at the 2-yard line. So I'm not worried about Zach. He was only rusty a little bit coming out of the gate, but he seems to have an understanding of the offense enough so we've noticeably expanded the offense, right? Now we're running RPOs. Now we're running 2 backs in the backfield where we didn't run that at all last year, right? There was no times where we had 2 number 1 running backs in the backfield because we didn't have 2 number 1 running backs. So we have a whole new playbook or a whole new play designs because now we have Hall and Carter. So LaFleur is like, hey, we're not going 3 wide receiver sets. We're going to go 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, and a receiver and still make plays. Azuma has been a huge blocking tight end. And this is what keeps these defenses off balance, right? You want to key on Breece Hall. Well, now it's going to be Breece Hall staying in on the RPO, and Carter is going to slip out of the backfield, like for those wheel routes, right? There's going to be little trick plays and nuances. Green Bay is prepared for this. And LaFleur is really, really good at those reverses, those halfback passes. Zach Wilson's the only player in the NFL this year with a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a passing touchdown. He's the only player in the NFL with that, and he's only been back 2 weeks. So I look for a full bag of tricks. I look for the defense to overplay the run and make Rodgers and those receivers try to beat these corners. And honestly, Jets fans, this is an NFC game. It's like 1 win. And what the Jets have done really good at is their 3 wins are AFC opponents, and they come back against Denver and New England. You take it 1 game at a time, but they're racking up the conference wins, which give you the wild card tiebreakers at the end of the year, which is so important. So this is like a confidence builder, momentum, lessons learned playing Green Bay to take into those AFC matchups we have down. This is like a huge maturity game for the Jets, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it's a huge game. It's a huge test for them because, again, we spoke about, and I speak about all the time. Game 5, you start having an identity of what your football team is. Last week, the Jets showed me their identity. They really did. I think we've been asking this Jets team to stick to the run all season long. All season long, we've been asking them. We've been telling them, stick to the run, stick to the run. In the games that the Jets actually lost, they didn't stick to the run. And they came off a formula that I think works for them very well. Like you said, the type of offense they run. Breece Hall was a steal for the New York Jets. And JD knew exactly what he was doing when he got him. This guy, and maybe in another draft, would have been higher up in the first round. This is a good running back, and he's getting better as he's recognizing the NFL holes, as he's getting more comfortable and not thinking but reacting, as the Jets' offensive line is becoming more healthy and adapting to their running scheme. Remember, there's still a lot of pieces moved around here. Tomlinson's new on this team. You got AVT bouncing all around the line. You got Fant that's in and out now. You got Dwayne Brown that just came back. You just had Mitchell on the line. Now he's hurt. You signed like 2 or 3 other offensive guards that just started with the team. Like, there's a lot going on, and the Jets are still winning ball games. Like you said, when these guys start coming back, it's going to be like Zach Wilson's getting a trade every week, every time he comes in. Oh, I got another offensive lineman. It's like the Jets are making a playoff push without doing anything. They're just getting players back because, everyone started doubting the Jets after the first week or so. What's JD doing? This, that, and the third. But you got to let things develop a little bit. We know the talent that's here, and even the doubters in the back of their mind, they know we've gotten some extreme value out of what JD has been able to put together with what he was given. And I think you're starting to see that. This last 2 years is becoming one of the best drafts probably in the Jets history, is what it's going to wind up coming down to over these next 2 years. Just the amount of talent that the Jets have and depth that they're building, especially offensively. Like we detailed earlier in the episode, when can you go back and say that you've had weapons and talents like this? Maybe the Jets have had one at a time, but not two, and not for very long. These guys are young. They're going to be here for a little run here. And if the Jets do the right thing, this team is going to get where they need to go. I truly believe that. I really do. And it starts this week against the Packers because it's a winnable game. When you look at this team, they have nearly identical stats. The Jets score a little bit more points per game. They allow a little bit more points per game. We're talking about 23-19. That's a swing of a drive here or there. That's a turnover here or there, right? Total yards, 373 to 379. Yards passing, Jets have more, 276 to 244. Yards rushing, 97 to 134. Again, they use a two-back system with Jones and Dillon. Sometimes they split. Sometimes it's like 12 carries Dillon, 15 touches for Jones. But these guys are dangerous. They extend drives. If the Jets want to win this game and not keep it close, because here's the problem. We could say that Aaron Rodgers isn't this, the Packers aren't that, and because that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the Jets have the better team right now, and I truly believe that. But we've seen great quarterbacks put performances together, and he's still very talented. And you have to do the right things. And the right thing here is for the Jets to really lock this run down. Stall those drives out. Make it even tougher for Rodgers. Let Rodgers have to throw into 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, these types of things against Sauce and Reed. Let's not make it difficult where it's a 3rd and 2 and you don't know if Rodgers is rolling out, and then he could start utilizing the tight ends, which he really doesn't do. But in a game like this, when you make it short yardage and the Jets are playing tough in coverage, he'll start utilizing these guys, and he'll expose a part of your defense that you haven't recognized yet. This is what good quarterbacks do. So the Jets need to be smart here in the way they play, and they need to just lock down that run. If the Packers average 134 yards a game, keep it under 100. That's all I'm asking. Keep it under 100. Limit it in certain moments of the game. Don't do what you did in the Bengals game when the Bengals marched down and took 7 minutes off the clock. This is the type of stuff we're talking about. We don't want them to do that against the Jets because I think they'll have a hard time deciphering what to do with this Jets offense. If you stack that box against the Jets and you leave your soft-cover defense and you one-on-one with some of these athletes, especially the way Zach can move in that pocket and as quick as he could flick that ball out and get it out, you're exposing yourself for those big plays that Kevin was talking about that you just don't want, because it might come down to one of those games, a drive here or there, where if the Jets defense is really holding it down and they have a hard time moving that football, you don't want to be giving up big plays on the other side. You want Zach Wilson to make mistakes. You want to put it in Zach Wilson's hands if you're a Green Bay. Because let me tell you something. If Breece Hall comes out there and he did what he did in Miami against Green Bay, the game is over. Because then you make it too easy for Zach Wilson. Then it doesn't matter because then it flips the field. You're giving a young quarterback a 3rd and 2, a 3rd and 3. Now do you know what LaFleur can do with 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3? Exactly what Kevin was telling you earlier, using his little gadget plays, barrios, swinging around, do like all sorts of stuff that he could do in those short yardages that just make the Jets more lethal. So again, you're going to want to stop Breece Hall and Michael Carter from going off, but the Jets have to play it right. If they do shut them down, then go to the screen game, go to the quick checkdowns and let your athletes work for you yards after catch and start chipping away at this defense until they leak up. Then you could take your chance. This isn't a hard defense to play against. When you play the type of defense that Green Bay has, it just in a passing league, you're just basically daring quarterbacks to beat you. You're saying, hey, we think that we could react on the underneath stuff good enough to tackle and stop you from making yards after the catch. And we trust our secondary enough to put them in a zone and make a play, to give a quarterback even maybe a little bit more time, but let our front get to you, put a mistake, and now we have extra guys in coverage. But the way this defense is played out, I don't know if they could do that with these corners. So to me, that front four is constantly going to be the chatter this whole year. It really, really is, because I think the cornerbacks are starting to prove themselves, but they also can't be laid out to dry either. So it's the responsibility of a very talented unit up front. We just spoke about Lawson shaking off the cobwebs, being very, very active last week. And you know what? When you think about it, you got to give the man a little bit more credit. When you blow your knee out like that and you're an explosive player, it probably does take a few games or you just, just playing without thinking about it and then coming back and saying, oh man, I just played all game. And you're like, I'm good. I'm fine. These are human beings. They are not machines. They do think about these things. Ask Derrick Rose. He never recovered 100%. The doctors were telling him he was healthy, and he still couldn't play on his knee because his mind wasn't right yet. So now you're seeing Lawson get back to the old Lawson. You can call them cushion games because it was Skylar Thompson and whatever, but you got to win them. And these are games that the Jets lost last year. And now they're turning those losses into wins. And Kevin, they're putting themselves in position here that if they win against the Packers in Green Bay, going home to play the Patriots at 5-2 and possibly having a chance to be 6-2, then you're talking about in the first 8 games of the season, your Jets are 5-3 or 6-2. And then they literally could win every other game in the second half and they can make the playoffs. This is why it's so important to win your games early. Because you're going to have times where players are out. You're going to have times where you fall off or you play opponents that are stacked that just beat you. You go through a losing streak. But when you start off good and you start winning games, it affords you that chance to fall off and regain your momentum again by the time late December or mid-November, late December come on for the final push. The Jets they're outperforming their expectations right now, and they've got a tested, prove-it game here against a veteran quarterback and a team that had aspirations of getting back to the big game, okay? So this is great for them. I love it, but Kevin, we're going to need your score. What do you got?
Maybe come off mute. This is really tough, right? Like, tough road game. But what I would like to say is I know my man Sunny Shades and his lovely new wife will be at the game. She's a Packers fan. He's a Jets fan. And they're going to join and watch this game together in Green Bay. And Sunny, the weekend that he did his wedding was the weekend we beat Cleveland. So I'm going to say we're going to win again because he has been a Jets good luck charm. So I got to give him all the credits in the world. Man, I think this is going to go into overtime, right? Just like when the Patriots blew their lead and went into overtime, I think the Jets end up coming back and sending it into overtime and stealing this one. I'll say we score the touchdown in overtime that you need to win, right? So the other team doesn't get the ball back. So that would be 30-24. I think we go into overtime 24-24, and then we get a touchdown in overtime that ends the game, and we win 30-24 in what's a very contested, very tough game, but goes down to the wire, and we steal it in overtime on the road, 30-24.
I'm going a little bit different from you. I think it's going to be a close game early, going into halftime, maybe 17-10 game, something like that, or maybe 10-10 game. And then all of a sudden, again, the Jets are going to have the big fourth quarter. I just think by the end of the game, they're going to have a hard time really controlling Breece, and they're going to have a hard time with this Jets offense. And I think the Jets put up a 17 burger in the second half. I think the Jets get 27 and the Packers have 17. I think the Jets win by 10 points. I know that's super bold, guys. Okay, 27-17. I just am not impressed with the Packers at all and what they've been able to do. Listen, The Packers lost. Listen, let me break this down for you. Do you know I'm disappearing? Do you know how bad the Giants receiving group is? It might be all-time bad through injury and through just not having enough talent, and they're somehow finding a way to beat these teams and beat the Packers. And they go, well, they have Saquon Barkley, da, da, da. Okay, well, we have Breece Hall, we have Michael Carter, we have Zach Wilson. We may not be able to run for 160 or 170 yards a game, but we could find ways to beat you throughout the game through creativity and talent and versatility. And so you combine that with the fact of like the Jets have Wilson and Moore and Corey Davis and Conklin, and both the backs can catch out of the backfield. Like, and you got Berrios. And I mean, the list just goes on and on and on with the talent that the Jets have. I feel like, to me, that if Zach Wilson is patient and this offensive line gives him a little bit more time, which it seems like they've been getting a little bit better here as the talent's coming back, be patient, take what the offense gives you, and you're going to find your holes because it's just impossible to cover everybody. It's impossible. And if you can hit those gaps and you could get big gains in a soft cover defense. You just can't make mistakes because there's just extra emphasis on that. You can't do that. The Jets run the ball. They make it manageable. 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s. The Jets convert those first downs. They utilize the tight ends in Conklin and CJ. Hopefully he gets going a little bit again. You know, you have him in for blocking, but we saw what he could do catching the football too. So I'd like to see him used as well. But hey, you do what you got to do to protect, your running game and protect your quarterback. But listen, 27-17 for me. We're going to do the post game, obviously, and everything.
Hey, you got to like CJ Mosley, Alexander, and Quincy Williams versus the run, right? Like, this is going to be the first time in a couple of weeks we see all three of them back on the field.
Dude, Alexander is, I don't know what it is, but like every time he makes a tackle, it is like an earth-shattering hit. He does not need running room to generate power. It's interesting. When you watch him hit, he generates the power just from standing where he's at. So he doesn't have to run from very far away. Like, he put a hit on Tyreek Hill where he just mashed him, man. He really did. Everyone he hits has to deal with them. I'd like to see him hit Aaron Rodgers once or twice if possible, and get him thinking. Because Aaron Rodgers, he gets up just like the rest of the Brady's and all, you're letting them hit me, that kind of thing. And then once the quarterbacks start doing that, you're in their head. I want Lawson to be aggressive. This is going to be a good football game. The Jets are going to be in this from start to finish. If I go in the post game and the Jets somehow got blown out, I'd be very, very surprised. I think the Jets are ready. Listen, could they revert backwards? And yeah, anybody could. But from what they've shown me, it looks like they've turned a corner. Winnable games like this, winnable games like the Broncos, the Jets are going to compete and win these games. Winnable games like the Patriots on the 30th. The games where I could see the Jets struggling and pressing a bit, and who knows, by then maybe they'll be more battle tested, are games against the Bills where, Josh Allen can throw up 4 or 5 touchdowns in no time. He really can. I've seen him do it. It's really weird, but they can really score with anyone too. It's not just Diggs. He throws the ball to McKenzie and Davis and Singletary. It doesn't matter. He just scores touchdowns. He's like a bigger version of what I think Zach Wilson is going to be for this offense. I think at some point in time, you are going to see Zach Wilson put up 3-4 touchdown type of games because I believe his talent is that good. The Jets must keep this talent here. In 2-3 years, they cannot let it just kind of dwindle off and think that we could just let these guys go. But I believe that he could be that guy where he could just throw him up like that. That's the game I think that the Jets would struggle with. But we might need to reevaluate, and we do. Once we get to midseason, we'll reevaluate the schedule again, and we'll see where do they sit? Like, looking into the second half, and it could have changed the whole aspect of what we're looking at here, But what I would ask fans to do, the one thing, is to please be happy with this progress. Don't wait for the other shoe to drop, because things like that will happen. They still are a young team. They're still not guaranteed anything. They have to go and take it from these teams. If they come out and they look good like they have the cheer team, if they come out and lose against Green Bay, don't say, oh, man, here we go again. A lot of teams will probably lose to the Packers when it's all said and done. We don't know. They've started off slow before. Teams have started off slow before. You have a great quarterback. You can start getting things moving. We don't know what the Packers will be by year's end. And you know what? You won't know what the Jets will be until year's end either. So don't just act like the world's going to end if they lose against the Packers. If they compete and they keep the game close and they're in it to the end, that's the one thing that you should be looking for. Anything else is just extra. It's just extra. If they win the game, dude, if the Jets are 4-2 after this week and it just starts building, man, this could be a special season. But you got to enjoy it. You can't get to the end of the season and start being like, oh, yeah, finally I'm into it, because I'm going to call you a fraud. When the Jets win and they're having success, be happy about it. They deserve it. And when they crap the bed and they don't do the right things and they don't say some of the right things, you're within your right to be poo-pooing on if you want to, okay? But right now, it seems like they're turning the corner. All the young players are contributing. Everyone that Joe Douglas has drafted over the last 2 years practically has contributed if they're healthy. You can't ask for anything more. This is a good football team. I believe they're a good football team. I think they're building it the right way. I don't think there's a cancer in the locker room, a discontent, a movement towards negative. I think this team is moving upwards, and we're about to see how much so against the Packers. But listen, guys, if you want to contribute to the show, comment box. What's up?
Wait, I want to address, on that note, I want to address one of the comments that just came up. And
Okay.
JR, thank you for throwing the comments up across the screen. Guys, keep them coming. I'm stealing a line from Guru right now, but we can't answer all the comments during the show. We do our best to get to them after the show. But once in a while, one comes across and we'll throw it up on the show. So there's a comment that just came up that Quincy Williams and Quan Alexander are having, their best seasons because they're in contract years. One thing I would say is that, Quan Alexander was a Pro Bowler before he ever signed with the Jets. Okay, guys, he's only 26 years old, and we got him because he was coming off injuries. So we gave him a 1-year prove-it deal. So yeah, of course he's trying to prove it, but he's not good just because he's looking for a new contract. He's good because he was good before we got him, right? He's been in a Pro Bowl before, guys. So yeah, I mean, he's awesome, but he was awesome before we got him. We knew he was awesome if he could stay healthy. The way he plays, Mr. Smith already pointed out, he plays very violent. And this is a league with grown men, right? These running backs are 220. Breece Hall is 220 pounds, guys. He's not a little dude. So yeah, you're going to get hurt sometimes when you throw all your weight like he does against the Derrick Henrys of the world, right? But no, Quan Alexander can play. So I think the Jets do have to decide if they want to extend him, just like they got to. But they're not, guys, a lot of guys for the Jets are having big years. So don't get wrapped up in this contract stuff. How good of a year is AVT having on the offensive line? Elite. He's in his second year of his rookie deal. Breece Hall is a rookie, right? Corey Davis, Lawson, Quinn Williams, we can tag two more times. Yeah, all the guys.
Wilson's thinking about his contracts 3 years from now. Wilson's thinking about his contract 3 years from now. He's saying, I got to play well today for 3 years. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so I can get an extension in 3 years. Guys, yes, Quan Alexander and Quincy Williams do want to show the Jets that they want to be here. But at the same time, they're putting together good game tape for their agents to use, whether the Jets sign them or not. So this whole thing that these guys are only having good years, like, you got to get that out of your head. The point of what Joe Douglas is trying to build is depth. So whether we keep him or lose him, we got a guy right behind him. If we lose Quan, we re-sign Quincy and we draft another guy, right? Like, same thing with Mosley, same thing, all these guys. So don't get lost in that whole contract thing. Like, I hate that. Yeah, these guys are playing for each other. They're saying the right things. Whether they're rookies and you hear Sauce or Garrett Wilson interviews, or they're Quan Alexander or CJ Mosley. Like, everybody is saying the right things. We got the right culture. regardless if we keep these guys or not. So I'm just saying, don't get lost in the sauce that these guys are only playing well because they're looking for new contracts. We already see how Joe Douglas negotiates, right? He's not throwing away $17 million to the wrong guys. That's not how he does business. So go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Mosley had like 147 tackles or something last year. I mean, like, he's back to his old tackle numbers because of the weight loss that he put in, not this year, but last year, coming in camp last year. So, he wanted to be prepared to play in Saleh's defense. So he lost weight and he did the appropriate thing as a professional if you want to continue playing in the NFL. And, guys like Quan Alexander, like players like that, tackle well, hit hard. Sometimes they lose their job. They have injuries. You don't want to get signed to a big contract. You part ways with players. It just happened. The Jets brought him in because he has experience in that defense. And he like Kevin said, he's had better years before the Jets. That argument doesn't really fit with this team too much. It's not something I think that could be really said. To me, like I was saying before, I think the Jets fit more like a college team. The way that they like kind of bring guys in and out, the way that they use everyone on the field, the way that they rotate their defensive line, like it's just very team oriented. It's very system oriented team. And that's what I've wanted for so long for this team. It's like it always seemed like the defensive coordinator was like a different style than the coach. And, it just the GM didn't pick the coach and it just everything was out of sync. Now it seems like everything is in sync. The players, the draft, the offensive scheme meets the defensive scheme. They've been together in the same organization, so they know each other. So everyone kind of knows each other or were brought here because they wanted someone to be here. There's no discontent. And I think you feel that. And then, like I said this last year, they built this team from the ground up. So these guys feel invested in this place when they're brought here because this is a new regime. This is a new style for them, new quarterback, new coach, new coordinator. Everyone has different roles that are new. Everyone's learning together. And I've been in an environment like that before. And you do feel like you're building something combined with the way that they rotate their guys and that their coaches are young. It has a youthful, energetic spirit to the way that they play football and the way that they handle things. And I like that. And I think it's fresh and I think it's good for New York and I think it's good for the Jets. So I think someone said, I want to see close to 30 points. I think they're going to get there. Again, I think Kevin has it. I have him close to 27 or so. But then I forget about Greg the Leg, and they can't discount how many dead drives that he could save with his leg. Maybe at least one to three drives a game he could possibly save, making field goals. So then you're talking about 33. That you could get up. You could get up there. You could get up there in points with this team. Again, the Jets are averaging like 24 points a game. So they're not exactly, scrubs here in this department. So they're putting it together each and every week. So listen, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this team. And to me, this is not even Quinn Williams' best year yet. Like, you got to remember, he was double teamed a ton. There was a lot of injuries. There was a lot of times he was double teamed. This is the first time in his career that he has guys around him that have the talent, that are healthy enough to step up and do their thing. So maybe the reason why you might see him shine a little bit more this year is because you got to worry about what Lawson just did last week. What was it? 7 quarterback hits, a sack, and something else. I mean, he was an absolute terror. When a guy's doing things like that, when John Franklin Myers can do things, and these guys could step on the defensive line and play, you can't just double team a guy and eat up a spot. You have to stay true. And so you're going to see that in a lot of ways with the Jets because the talent level is just better. And when you put better talent next to better talent, they tend to play a lot better together because now you can't focus in on one. You have to focus in on multiple. And again, that's when you have your one-on-one matchups. And that's when better athletes and better talent take advantage of the situation. This is from Pop Warner football all the way up to the NFL. It's all about matchups. And when you can single your talent out on another lesser talent, you're going to win. So it's about collecting talent, using it correctly, and taking advantage of those matchups. So I think that the Jets are going to do what they need to do.
I don't understand how you can complain about Quinn Williams. I don't like Jets, I know you want every guy to be Aaron Donald and you want every guy to be like, Joe Montana or something. And like, his second year in the league, he played 13 games and had 7 sacks in 13 games. He had 6 and 15 last year. Like, and now he's going to get that defensive tackles that get 7, 8, 9 sacks while getting double teamed. Like, that's good. And Daniel started the show saying he's on pace for 11 right now. At defensive tackle, if your defensive tackle is eating in the middle, everybody's job is easier because you're constantly flushing the quarterback. And you want to flush to Mac Jones. You want to push them out and make them uncomfortable. Fans, I don't know what you're watching. Like sometimes Quinn Williams is a big-time player. Like when we draft, he's what you wanted Leonard Williams to be. He's what you wanted Copels and Mo Wilkerson.
Right, exactly.
And he's 24. I think he's gonna turn 25 later this year. Like, guys, enjoy. I'm sorry, I cut Mr. Smith off again, and I do this sometimes. But he's asking you guys enjoy these young players, right? Clemens and Jermaine Johnson and Lawson and Huff are eating because of what Quinnen is doing in the middle, right? And they're making Sauce and Reed. I mean, John Franklin Myers got a free shot that allowed that Sauce interception because people are not worried about John Franklin Myers. They're worried about Quinnen Williams, who also got a sack. And his sack was huge last week, right down the middle on 3rd and 6. And he had that humongous sack. Guys, don't complain about success. Don't complain about the guys doing well. Enjoy it because we haven't had a team this talented on offense and defense at linebacker and corner and D-line and defensive end and wide receiver and running back and offensive line and quarterback and tight end. Guys, you haven't seen this maybe since 98.
Come on, Raiders.
Enjoy it. And these guys are all under 25 years old. All of them but DJ Reed, I think, turns 26 this year. Enjoy it.
Come on.
Yeah, still young. Yeah, absolutely enjoy it 100%. And someone just made a comment on YouTube. Jeff Carey, we'll definitely follow you on there. Thanks for broadcasting us. And Liz Muller's awesome. She's been very accepting of us in our page. And we're trying to link up. We're trying to get some people on the show. We've had Mike Westhoff on the show. We're trying to get some other people we want to give up yet. We've had Blake Castman on the show. So we're building this. And as always, guys, we're just doing this. We're not getting paid with no sponsorships. All the stuff that we get is from you guys. So if you guys want to contribute, we got stars in the bottom, right where you write comments. You can contribute, send us some stars. It helps us grow the page, gets merch, et cetera, et cetera. So, listen, we're not always going to agree on everything, and that's okay. Right. I deal with so many comments a day through my write-ups that I do, which I appreciate all the love on those. But another thing I want you guys to do is subscribe to YouTube, man. Help us out. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube yet, go on to YouTube, Jets Guru, and hit the subscribe button. Once we get to 200 subscribes on there, I'm going to be giving away a Jets ticket to a regular season game this year. So let's get it going. We got to get over 200, though. We can't be sitting here. We got to get the numbers up if we're going to be giving away valuable Jet tickets, right? When's the last time we've been able to say that? Valuable Jet tickets. That's what I'm calling them. So super excited for you guys to come and check us out also on @GuruJets on Twitter. We have a good following there. It's a completely different culture than what we do on here. And check us out on Jets Guru on Instagram, man. So we're everywhere. We're doing everywhere. We're going everywhere. We're doing different things. We're out in the lot. All we need is the organization to help us out, man. So if there's anyone out there that knows some former players, knows people in the organization, let them know about the Guru. Say, hey, these guys don't curse. They don't talk about politics. They just talk about Jets football. We'd love to get more content for our viewers who have been holding us up since the very beginning. So appreciate all the support. You guys, please check out Live Rounds. Please check out End Zone. Please check out No Fly Zone. All these pages. There's tons of cool Jet pages where you can get great information. You guys can have your little drama talks and get mad at each other and do all those things that you guys like to do. But it's all in good love. Remember, we're all Jet fans at the end of the day. And the one thing that we want is we want the Jets to play winning football. So I know it's been a long road, but it looks like the Jets are doing some good things, and we're going to be there covering it for you. Check out our audio podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just type in Jets Guru. You guys are amazing. Have a great night. JETS, 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 Jets.
I can feel it coming in the air.